our business. And now, here's your host, Steve Gordon.
Well, here we are, another Monday, and it's good to be here in Hollywood, Florida. My name is Steve Gordon, and sitting to my left, those of you looking on the television screen to your right, the always fun and great to be with Mr. Mark Anoff, producer and man on the boards extraordinaire. How are you, Mark?
Hey, I'm doing pretty good. How about yourself, Steve?
Good. Should I refrain from asking questions while you got both hands on the keyboard there?
No, I think we're on the air, so we're pretty good. So.
Is this like the version of don't text and drive?
Well, no, I think I got three things going at one time. Plus, I have you here, so
well, that's
I'm really
a big
excited
distraction.
to have you here. I hope you had a better week this past week than the previous week.
Well, thank you. And for those who are wondering what Mark's talking about, last week I was on the show, and we had just returned from the funeral of my mother-in-law. So, yeah, you know, it's very difficult, Mark. Thank you for asking, and thank you always for your follow-up and concern. And thank you to everybody who wrote in, posted on Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, and expressed condolences. I really appreciate your kindness, and so does Lori. Your words do get us through a very challenging time, and so thank you. So just for those of you who are brand new, listening for the first time, CEOmanship is a radio and television show. My name is Steve Gordon. I am the CEO of the Gordon Partnership Group, and CEOmanship is a show for business owners and CEOs, and we focus on topics that are important in your life and your business to help you grow in both functions. And so I hope that you continue to come back every week and listen and learn and share these shows with your friends. Remember that after the show, you can go to CEOmanship.com and watch a copy of today's episode if you'd like to just get some nuggets that maybe you feel like you missed, or go back and watch any of our old shows that are in archive. Also, while you're on CEOmanship, should you choose to enter your email in the little box on the bottom left corner that says enter your email, or on the right-hand side in some places, not only will you receive copies of important letters and updates from our corporation, but you will also have the password and access to something new that we do each week. It's called Elevations. And Elevations is an audio blog that runs usually about 2 to 5 minutes, and it's to really inspire you to be the best that you can be always. And I hope that you'll subscribe and get great value from Elevations as well as CEOmanship. Please, to make sure that you never miss a future episode of CEOmanship, go to the iTunes podcast library or go to CEOmanship and click on the iTunes podcast button, and you'll automatically be able to subscribe and receive a copy of CEOmanship, typically within minutes or hours after the show is completed and uploaded to iTunes. I always think that's funny, Mark. You have to upload it to iTunes so they can download it to their iPhone.
Well, you know, and you do all this yourself. You don't outsource any of this, do you?
Well, you do it. That's kind of outsourcing.
Well, but I'm saying that the elevations, that part of it.
Yes,
the
yes.
emails that come in are coming in directly to the
Right. We never sell your email address. We never give it to anybody else. This is for us and for you. That's a good point, Mark.
I find that a lot of companies, even small companies, are now sending their work to other people to be done because they think it's less expensive. But then it takes the personality out of that person. I mean,
that's such a good point, Mark Anoff. Yeah. You know what? When we get George out of the picture, you just shine, man. You are right on the spot. I'm loving that. Sorry, George, not here, under the bus. That's how it goes. Yeah, you know what? What's more expensive, to take a few minutes and type up an email, or have somebody else try to create your personality and lose a client? I don't know. I'm thinking maybe the latter is a little more expensive.
Well, you know, the reason I bring it up is that we have someone.
Tell us why we bring it up.
We have
Mark.
someone that we know that outsources most of their work, and although I admire the people in his organization, I have to take that step back and say, why aren't you doing it yourself? It's just a couple more steps in in the process.
Well, I hope that when you check your email later today, you'll see the email that I personally wrote this morning and sent out to all our subscribers, letting them know about last week's show, Elevations, and today's show. And you probably have it in your inbox, but I know you were very busy preparing for today's show.
Yes, I was very busy preparing to make sure that you have a top show today.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
And you know what, Mark? I have so much to cover that I'm going to run through this really quickly and just get right into it, because 60 minutes is not going to be enough for today's show, I can tell you already. So whether you'd like to maybe have someone from Gordon Partnership come help you with sales training, CEO bootcamp, CEO training, come on in and act as a surrogate COO, or whatever it is that we can do to help you grow your business. Your success is our business. Contact us, and you can go to the other website, which is Gordon Partnership, Gordon, partnership, ship.com, and complete a contact us form, and I'll get back to you within 24 hours or less. Of course, you can find show notes and sometimes bloopers and other little outtakes and other things that maybe don't make the full 60 minutes. Like today, I have a feeling there'll be extra that's going online. But you can follow us on Facebook at Gordon Partnership, Twitter, follow Steve Gord, Instagram, Gordon Partnership, LinkedIn, just search for Steve Gordon and Gordon Partnership or Steve Gordon and CEOmanship. Again, the iTunes podcast library, CEOmanship, and our websites, gordonpartnership.com and CEOmanship.com. Today, we have a new sponsor. And today's sponsor is High Speed Video. Now, this isn't like, I don't want to mention anybody or any other company's name, but it, those things that rhyme with, well, Ace Time, because it's not that. And it's not the one that rhymes with hype. But this is a very professional video conferencing system. Imagine that you're a small, medium, or even a very large-sized corporation, and you've got salespeople around the world, customers around the world, and you're looking for broadcast-quality video communication. And I'm talking absolutely high definition, picture perfect. Sometimes on those other ones when the person's talking, right, and then it's like the old movies when you were kids and Godzilla does this, and then 3 minutes later the words come out. That's the other video production type companies. This is perfect. In fact, some of the major corporations are some professional athletic organizations. You can contact me. I'll tell you privately who they are. eBay. And some other, let's say the Major League Baseball, MLB, uses this product. It's so good that you will never use another video conferencing system again. And by the way, if you contact me personally by sending me an email at steve@ceomanship.com and mention that you heard about our video conferencing partner, I will personally see to it that you get to use the system for free and try it out with some of your partners. You'll be blown away. You will save a ton of money by not having to go out and travel around the world. And you know what? This is a high-tech society, right? So why would we want to be getting on airplanes when we could be sitting here in sunny Florida? Just last night, I had a friend of mine say to me, "How's the weather in Florida?" I said, "Well, Walter, it's it's like 65 degrees. It's a little cool today. I'm out here on the beach, but the dogs are a little chilly." And he goes, "I hate you." I said, "You love me." He said, "Well, I love you, but I hate you because it's -1 here in Connecticut." I said, "Well, there's plenty of room down here, but you know what? Why fly up there to do a meeting with Walter when I can just get on that high-speed video?" Anyway, give us a call or give me an email, and I will personally arrange for you to have a trial of this software. No downloads, perfectly, unlimited number of people.
And the name of the company again is?
High Speed Video, and that's hsvideo.net. All right, but you need to contact me personally so I can make sure that they know to give you the free trial. That's the key. Anyway, we are still, in my mind, early in the year. And, again, thinking about life, thinking about things, I put down this morning, I was on my bicycle. I had a whole different show set up for today. And as I was riding my bicycle, as you all know I do every morning, I was just hit with the idea for a different show. And so today, I have started to put down, and this all happened pretty much while I was riding my bike and maybe the half an hour afterwards, just a few of what I consider to be rules for a great life in business and at home. Rules for a great life in business and at home. And so I'm going to rattle through these numbers, and I will put this information up online afterwards because it started out with about 20, then it morphed to about 40, and I'm not going to tell you how many there are because there are a lot, and that's why we need the rest of the show to keep going. So hold your breath, Mark, because we are going. You wearing a seatbelt? It's going to go fast, Mark.
I am in Strapped in with 2 seatbelts.
Strapped in with 2 seatbelts. Okay. So the first rule for being, having a great life and in business and at home, and these are just Steve Gordon's. This is my philosophy. Number 1, be the person you want to be. Because you know what? You've got to look that person in the eye every day in the mirror when you wake up. Number 2, stay true to yourself. Because honestly, nobody respects a follower. I always say that, you can be the sheep or you can be the herder. I know which one I want to be. And it's sad that so many people are comfortable being the sheep. And I don't say that in a derogatory way, because all of us was designed. We were given the gift to be the herder, and yet somehow in life we feel that we aren't deserving of being the herder. But I'm telling you, you are. You are deserving for sure. Rule number 3 for having a great life in business and at home. And I'm going to mix these up. So some of these are going to be personal and some of these will be business. Some of them will obviously roll over into both parts of your life. But rule number 3, don't throw anybody else under the bus. Don't talk about others' personal situations to coworkers or to friends. In fact, you know what? No matter what somebody's going through, please, you are so much better off building somebody up. Don't call up a coworker and say, "Hey, did you hear about George?" See, George isn't here today, right? So we call and go, "Hey, did you hear about George?" Or, my husband or my boss did such and such. In other words, don't try to build your house, Mark, by tearing somebody else's house down. Do you know what that means?
I sure do.
It means don't try to make yourself look bigger by making somebody else look smaller. Okay?
Nice point.
Thank you. If you're having a problem at home, for example, and now I'm going to talk to husbands and wives for a second, please don't ever say anything bad to your wife, guys, about to your friends or your coworkers, because at the end of the heat of the moment, after you're done being angry, your friend or coworker is always going to remember what you said, and that's going to reflect badly on both of you. I mean, don't you want your partner to be perceived by everybody as just absolutely amazing?
Of course.
Right, so why would you go out and tell your best friends, "Oh, my husband's this, my wife's this"? Husbands, you have to build your wife up always. Guys, come on. Right, believe me, the rewards are numerous. You following me what I'm saying, guys, right? Always go out of your way to do the little things and never turn around and go, "Hey, look what I did." Believe me, your partner knows, all right? It could be little things, and this works in the office too. If you're walking down the hallway in your office building and there's something on the floor, even if nobody's looking, be a person of excellence. Be a leader. Bend over and do the right thing. Pick up that piece of paper, whether it's in the hallway of your house or one of your kids, threw something out and missed the garbage can, and throw it away. Fill the car up with gas. Wash the car. Make a cup of tea for your wife at night. Always tell her how much you love her and always say thank you. Your personal challenges with your spouse are nobody's business. Frankly, nobody really cares. Not the guys at work, not the guys at the gym, not your buddy over a beer. You got to treat your wife or your partner like your queen. And the only way you should ever talk to others about your partner is in a positive way. I mean, if you can't be positive, whether it's about your spouse or about anything, I'm going to suggest don't say anything. There's a rule, Mark, they say, that we were given 2 ears and 1 mouth, and we ought to use them in that ratio. Except in this show, because I'm the one doing all the talking. Wives, let me give you a little hint, all right? Because we're simple. We're simple human beings. Men are really simple. Mark, don't comment on that. You know what? I could tell you from most men that I've worked with, we want a couple things. Men want to be respected and appreciated. Men want to be loved just like you do. And so, same thing. Don't tear your man down. When you have an argument, keep your matters in your 4 walls. Always. I mean, obviously, if it's something terrible, like an abusive situation, in which case you've got to speak up. But your personal issues are not your work partner's, not your girlfriend's business ever. Husbands, your wife is your queen. And she should be treated that way always. And if you're courting somebody, it should be the same way. And if you're working with people, well, maybe not king and queen, but with that same level of respect. And women, your husband should be treated like your king. And I realize that there's a lot of women probably rolling their eyes right now, but it's the truth. If you want your relationship to last a long time and to grow and to be loving always, treat each other like king and queen. And just like I said before, if you have something that's not good going on or nothing good to say, simply find a never topic, but never, ever, ever, ever badmouth your husband or your wife or your business partner to anybody else. Just find something good to say about somebody or simply find a new topic. I understand, Mark, that we all want to vent from time to time.
Absolutely.
And all I can say is this, that once you open a door and once that damage is done, it's done. And you can never take back what you said. Believe me, every one of us, well, I can't speak for everybody listening, but I'd be willing to take a bet, and I'm not a gambler, that all of us have said things probably in the last few days that we wish we could reverse the clock and take back, all right? So do you really want your best friend or your girlfriend or, if you're, guys or women to look at your husband or your wife and be thinking about that negative venom that was spewed when you were temporarily mad? And the answer is no. You want your friends and your coworkers to think, wow, he or she is the most amazing person and they are lucky. Mark Anoff, you are lucky to have that person in your life. Wow. He's a lucky guy. That's the way it should be. So set that bar high and never slip under the bar, folks. In my opinion, personally, Mark, I'm telling you, this is 100% non-negotiable. Talking behind someone's back, whether it's in personal life or in business, is an absolute game changer. And I'm going to suggest right here on the show, never, ever, ever do it. Here's the other thing. I personally believe that if you and I were talking here today and I turned to you and I said, hey, let me tell you something about George. The minute I walk out the door, you're thinking, I wonder what he's saying about me when I'm not there. Because I've just breached George's trust. And therefore, if you're thinking about it, you're thinking, well, he might be doing the same thing to me. I always feel like if you can't say something in front of somebody, then don't say it when they're not there. All right, that was only number 3. We got to keep moving. Number 4, be nice to your parents. And this is not a message for my own daughter who's here in Florida listening or my other kids, but it is. And it's a message for everybody. It's a message for ourselves. Because you know what? Here I am. My dad is 85 or will be in a few months. He'd probably get mad for giving him a few more months. But he's close to 85. And we just lost a parent in our family the other day. And you know what? They may not be around much longer. So be nice whenever you can. And with that too, and I think I have this written down as another number down there, so I'll skip it when it comes later. So now I'm not going to read the numbers anymore because I'll be off. But the other thing is, seniors in general have so much to offer. And young people are always in such a rush that they don't have time to sit with their grandparents, to sit with their parents, to sit with your neighbor who might be, 70, 80, 90 years old. But you know what's amazing? When you take that time and you sit down with your neighbor and maybe she's lost her husband and she's 85 or 90 years old, her kids don't live nearby, she doesn't have a lot going on, and you sit down, 2 things happen. Number 1, you probably made her day. But number 2, if you take the time to really listen, there's always great stories. People who've lived 80 and 90 years, they grew up before we had internet, radio, and television. They grew up before we had the internet. They grew up before we had, in some cases, television, or all of these things. And the stories that you can hear and share, and you see the joy coming through the smiles that these folks offer. It's wonderful. And you know what? It can give you a great perspective on your own life.
Yes, it can.
Here's another one. If you should be so lucky as to truly find love, make sure you cherish it, because it's really rare. Here's another one. Always take the high road, because number 1, the low road is never as fun. And the low road's the low road because everybody can travel that one. So why go where everyone's been? For many of you who listen to the show, you've been blessed. You've been blessed financially. You run companies, you're in upper management, and you make good money. It's so important to share your wealth. I told you last week about our painter who takes his own time and money, and about once a week he goes out and he cooks food for those who may not have homes here in Florida, who live on the streets. And he's an amazing guy because I don't know how much he has personally. But, he's willing to share some of that to make sure others have something, because something is better than nothing. And, I have to tell you, on the drive here today, as I was at the final stoplight here getting off the highway by Hollywood Boulevard, there was a woman. And I have to say, looked very, very, very haggard. And she was asking for money, change, etc. And everybody kind of turned their head and rolled their windows up. And I did not. I rolled my window down and I waved for her to come over at the stoplight. And she came over and she looks at me and not a tooth in her mouth, and looked like she's really, had a really hard life. And she says to me, "What's your name?" So I tell her. And she said, "That's a very nice car you have." I said, "Thank you." And she starts chatting with me for a split second. And she said, "Thank you." And I said, "Good luck to you. I hope this helps a little bit." And I said, "You're really, really, you're very nice. And thank you for taking a second out of your day to speak with me." And then the light turned green and I went on. Everybody wants respect. Right? That's what I talked about in the beginning, whether it's your husband, your wife, your co-partner, or the person who sleeps under a bridge and maybe doesn't get any of that, but 2 minutes can really change somebody's life. So share your wealth, all right? It's not fun to spend it when you're alone. Speaking of wealth, don't place happiness on material possessions, because at the end of the day, either you can't take them with you or they break, right? Here's another one, especially in business, Mark. Remember those people who helped you. Because I can assure you, they have never forgotten that they did. Right?
Yes.
Go ahead.
No, I'm just saying, yes.
And on a similar vein, help those in need, because you never know if you'll be that person. And I believe that if I'm talking to a lot of entrepreneurs out here, many of you, before you became who you are right now, listening to this show, sitting in a comfortable office or driving a great car and having a great life financially, I'm willing to bet that an overwhelming majority of you had money, lost money, had money, lost money. That's just the entrepreneurial spirit until you finally get it right. And so you never know. And many, many people got to where they are today because they did the right thing to other people on the way up, and maybe when they were on the way down, those people didn't forget and they gave them a helping hand. Stop thinking so much. This is something I do. I overthink things. Because thoughts are the root of most of your challenges. I heard a study once, Mark, that said that if you took the things that you're afraid of, or that keep you up at night, or the things that worry you, and you write them on a piece of paper, and you put them in an envelope, and you seal that envelope, and you come back just 6 months later, and you open that envelope, well over 90 or 95%, don't quote me on the number, of those people or those challenges did not come true. So the things that we worry about don't really happen. All right, I got to keep moving quicker here. Only say nice things, because bad words make even worse enemies. Follow your heart, because there's no better guide. Give thanks, because it's a better way than asking for forgiveness. I love that.
Why don't you repeat that one?
Give thanks, because it's way better than asking for forgiveness.
Nice.
I'll tell you that I am blessed to have an amazing marriage to an amazing, amazing human being, to someone that I absolutely love more than anyone on earth. And I know that she feels the same way. But nothing's perfect. And, there's always challenges and sometimes a little friction. And you know what? Sometimes I feel like I want to be stubborn in a challenging moment. And then I realize, why? Why? Just, what? It's better to just turn around and go, you know what? All right, I understand what you're saying or what you're feeling. And you want to win the battle and lose the war or whatever the expression might be. But I you know what? It's not worth it. So when you're wrong, just admit it. Or if you're not sure and it's just a matter of butting heads, someone's got to give up. Just be the one to give up. Why not, right? I mean, this is somebody you care about or somebody you work with. Anyway, did I say never lie because you'll always get caught?
No.
Never lie because you'll always get caught. And by the way, with digital everything these days, everybody knows everywhere. Just do the right thing. Tell your mother, your father, your grandparents, your spouse, your children that you love them because, truthfully, that's what people really want to hear.
Go to McDonald's.
Say that again?
Go to McDonald's.
Go to McDonald's?
Yeah.
Okay. I will do that.
Are you familiar with their latest commercial?
I just saw it the other night. But since they're not a paying sponsor, we're just going to leave it at that.
But it's brilliant.
I know. It's pretty funny. Always say I love you because really there's no equivalent substitute. And why not? This one makes me crazy. All right, we're moving from the love to pay attention when speaking with someone. If you're in the middle of a conversation, you get a text message, for example, or your phone rings. I understand if you're a parent, you got to look down, and if it's your kid, that's important to take that message. But please, nothing makes me personally crazier, especially in business, than when we're having a conversation, you get a text message. All right, I understand your eye is going to be drawn to your phone for a split second. Personally, in a big meeting, I would probably leave it off. But if you had kids in school and you needed to leave it on for an emergency situation, I get that. Leave it on vibrate. But when I talk to people and then they stop in the middle and they start texting and it's not one of those emergencies. You see, the problem with text messaging personally is that everybody expects to get an immediate response, right? They know you got your phone. So everybody feels compelled to have to respond immediately. And this is a conversation I have with clients all the time. I go, you know what? Respond when you're ready to respond. All right? Just because that person texted you with a question doesn't mean you need to stop what you're doing this second, disrupt your day, disrupt your thought process to send that text back. Now, obviously, if it's your child and they, fell at school and they said, Mom, I need, could call me at the nurse's office, then if I were in a meeting with you, I would say, Mark, listen, I just got a text from my child. I need to call their school. I'm really sorry. Can we take a 5-minute timeout? Let me just see what's going on here, and I'll come right back. Let me just step outside and take care of what I have to take care of. All right, see, that's a whole different ballgame. But don't look down at your phone and try to reply while talking to somebody. To me, what that says is your time is more important than my time. Okay? Forget those who did you wrong. It's hard. It's hard. When people do wrong things to you and they treat you badly, you want to, sometimes those things come back over and over and over again. But you know what? I tell you, forget those who did you wrong because I assure you, they forgot you. All right?
Yeah, true.
Let's try to do a couple more for now. Don't discredit anyone. Well, that's what I said before. Don't discredit anyone because you might need a job someday.
Yep.
You never know, right?
You never know. Don't burn bridges.
Do not burn bridges. That is well said, Mark Anoff. Always look for the silver lining. But remember, sometimes there might be a golden one instead. So don't sell yourself short. Never heard that before, huh?
No.
I thought about that one riding my bike this morning. It's true. You got to go for the stars. Never judge on first impressions because what I have learned is that people always surprise you. I've had conversations where I've looked at people at networking meetings who have stood up and maybe for that moment they didn't say something that was particularly articulate. And then 5 minutes later, I've had a quick conversation because they came over and they said, hey, can I talk to you about what you do? And it turns out maybe they were just nervous or something was going on. So don't judge. Give people an opportunity to earn that respect, but don't judge. Expect the worst because it's always better to be surprised than disappointed. Yeah. Let me give you two more. Never follow the crowd because you feel better because number one, you're better than that, and number two, we talked about that sheep and the herder theory. I always, the expression that when you could be the leader or the follower, but when you're the follower, the view never changes.
Right.
There you go. Anyway, We're going to take a break. My name is Steve Gordon. This is CEOmanship on SoFloRadio.com.
Here's the latest ratings you asked for.
What is this? Where did all our listeners go?
SoFloRadio.com.
SoFlo, what channel is that on?
It's online, sir. It's Wi-Fi radio.
Oh, I see.
But what channel is it on?
Put your business on the leading edge of media advertising with the SoFloRadio.com network. Unlike antiquated AM or FM radio, your professionally produced 30 or 60-second ad will be heard live on SoFloRadio.com during the day and will be downloaded thousands of times a day on SoFloRadio.com, as well as being heard on our free podcasts on iTunes. Wi-Fi radio and Bluetooth are now available with BMW, Ford, GM Cars and Trucks. Don't get left behind. Contact SoFloRadio.com for details and our very affordable rates. SoFloRadio.com. Stay ahead of the game.
Pizza Loft, if you wanna go Italian and see Jeff Cohen's ponytail. You'll have great Italian food that's made by a Jew who has lovely painted nails.
Hey, Donnie, how long we been on this deserted island?
A long time, Lonnie. So long I'm starting to fantasize about food.
Yeah, food from the pizza
I
loft.
sure could go for one of their gourmet pizzas right about now.
Or lasagna bubbling with cheese and oozing with tomato sauce.
Stop it. You're making me think of their great manicotti and sensational Italian sandwiches.
Yeah, but there's nothing to eat here unless you want to gnaw on this old lamp that washed up on shore.
Speak to me, guys. What can I do for you?
Hey, look, Donnie, a genie.
I'm no genie. I'm Jeff Cohen from the Pizza Loft.
Wow, Lonnie, all our dreams are coming true.
Okay. How about some great homemade pasta or calzones and lots of that homemade Italian garlic bread?
Pizza Loft does catering, Lonnie. They can cater this whole
Hey,
island.
hey, wait a minute, Donnie. We only get 3 wishes, don't we?
Oh, no. At Pizza Loft, your every wish is my command.
Then how about $1 million? A dozen babes. A way to get us off this stinking island.
Sorry, guys. I only do Italian.
For lunch, for dinner, for office or home catering. Step up to flavor. Step up to Pizza Loft.
Put a team of professional consultants behind your home or business computer with Key Information Solutions, providing solutions to your internet and computing needs while keeping you on the cutting edge of technology. Preventative maintenance and networking support, hardware and custom-built computers. Let Key Information Solutions be your personal tech staff for your home or office with affordable hourly, monthly, or annual rates to fit anyone's budget. Call Key Information Solutions now, 954-973-3374. That's 954-973-3374. Or visit keyinformation.com.
Hi, this is George. You know, trying to get laid all day makes me hungry, so I go to Power Smoothie in Aventura and get the healthiest wraps and most delicious smoothies ever made. I mean, really, the smoothies are so insanely delicious, they're orgasmic. The staff is friendly there and cute. The food is healthy and real, not processed. This is not fast food, it's good food served fast. And they love me there. They even let me create my own smoothie, the Malted Jorge. Go in and ask for one. They're in the Promenade Shops right off of US 1 in Aventura, or call them at 305-792-5338. You can also visit them online at powersmoothieaventura.com.
Yoga Gangsters, a Miami-based non-profit organization, provides free yoga programming to youth and young adults who are either at risk or in crisis. The Yoga Gangsters' mission is to use yoga as a tool to teach youth self-awareness, self-respect, and self-control. If you're interested in establishing a program or wish to make a contribution, contact Marisol at 305yoga.com or explore their website, yogagangsters.org.
SoFloRadio.com. Radio with some goddamn attitude.
Bachman Turner Overdrive. BTO. Got me dancing in my seat. Been a long time, Mark Anoff, since I've had a little BTO.
Really? Well, this is for you, Steve. Enjoy it while it lasts.
I think we're going to bring it down. All right, so we're talking about things that we can do to have a great life and be better and great in business. Just little tips from Steve Gordon. I am Steve Gordon, CEO of the Gordon Partnership Group. And you can watch this show live or archived on CEOmanship.com, or you can download our podcast on iTunes at CEOmanship. So, a couple more tips. Ask questions. You know, asking questions is the precursor for answers in everything. Whether it's, you're trying to go out on a date and you want to learn about somebody, or you want to know how your kids are doing. Lori always says that she used to sit at our daughter Taylor's the end of her bed at night, and that's when she would ask questions, because that's when Taylor didn't want to go to bed. And so all day you try to get answers from your kids and you don't get them, but when they're ready to talk because they want to stay up, you learn a lot of things. And so ask questions. And that's important too. If you're in sales and you're going on a sales call and you don't know what questions to ask even before you get there, I'm going to suggest it probably is a wasted sales call. We talked earlier about elders. Respect your elders, because truly they are smarter than we are. They've been there, and as the expression is, been there, done that. Work hard, because nothing comes from being lazy. Here's what I love and I live by. Dream big. Because truly, Mark, small dreams are simply not worth the chase. Here's another one. And I can't stress this enough. Start today. Because tomorrow may never come. All right, we know, and I'm not saying this particularly because we had a loss in our family. I'm saying this because, there are so many times when you go, I'll make that client call tomorrow, or I will, I'm going to call my child and check in on them, tomorrow. I'm a little busy right now. I need to go to yoga class, or I want to see how my dad's doing, but, I got a couple things and Dancing with the Stars is on TV right now. You know what? Put other things off and do now while you're thinking about it. Do it. Because if you're thinking about it, it means you want to do it, and it's important. And you may find yourself someday in a position where you have regret because you didn't. Think before speaking. I guarantee it'll always help your cause. Be a good friend. Be a good friend, because the world needs more good friends. This is a little, well, I like the way I wrote this. I'm sorry. It's a little self-pat on the back. But look people in the eye when you speak to them, because anywhere else is totally disrespectful. They say that the Gen Y, the younger generation, doesn't look people in the eye, that the best way to present to them is on the iPad. But the reality is that we need to teach our kids to start looking people in the eye, shaking hands with a firm handshake, giving respect again, because that's how business gets done, and that's how life has to be. I'm worried. I'm worried about the youth today when they become the upper management, middle management, and corporation owners, if they'll be able to run business on a face-to-face level.
With that kind of remark, I'm not sure if tomorrow's business is going to be a face-to-face business. So many people are working from their homes. I just spoke with a friend of mine yesterday, and all the management people have been moved to a brand new facility, and all the support staff are locked up on the 7th floor.
Well, I personally believe there will always be human interaction, and despite the fact that there will be a lot more, sales and communication, but even video chat, you've got to pay attention, right?
You would think. But there's always that 7-second delay,
Not if you're using our sponsor, highspeedvideo.net.
Good point.
There you go. Be happy. I didn't say that one. Be happy, because that's the whole point, right? I mean, what is there if you don't have happiness? Yeah. This one, you've heard me say this probably on 50% of all of our shows. My dad always says, if you're on time, you are late. So be on time. Being late is consistently is a sign of disrespect. Because the reason people are late is usually they're trying to squeeze a few more things, last-minute things, before they run out the door. And it basically says that I feel like your time, Mark, isn't as important as my time. We talked about being a person of excellence, doing things. That might mean everything from picking up a piece of trash in the hallway. Tell people when they do a good job. Give a compliment. I personally, and this show should not be about, I don't like to say I, because I don't want it to be that way. But I do. I like to make sure that I always tell people they do a great job. You and I, Mark, we go to a networking meeting, several, but one of them we go to up in Palm Beach Gardens. There's a young man, and he sets this whole meeting up not the guy who runs it, the guy who works for the restaurant. And he's very quiet. He's in the shadows, and he just sort of moves in and out of the room, but he makes sure that everything's set up. The coffee is perfect. If there's fruit plates, they're there. If there's garbage, he picks it up. And you know what? I make sure every time I see him to tell him. Last week I said, I want to tell you, you do such a great job. And I am sure that the people who own this restaurant are so happy to have you as an employee, because you're like a little machine. You do everything right, and I just want to say thank you, because what you do makes our meeting great. And if nobody else said that to you, I want you to know that probably everybody else is thinking it. And you had to see the look on his face. I mean, smile from ear to ear. And so did that hurt? No, it was easy to say. Well, first of all, it was true. But so many people would feel the same way and maybe not say anything. Just try to make people's day. You know, in business particularly, but anywhere, don't be flirty. Be honest. You know, married men, you know, you don't want to go up and tell another woman she looks really pretty today. Don't go to the gray zone. I mean, it's not relevant in a business meeting. Women, you know, don't tell another man, oh, you know, you're cute or handsome or whatever. It's not pertinent. All right. I don't care if it's even just you know, you want to say something nice. Say something nice, but I think that you have to keep your level of respect. I'm a very big believer. Even if your intent is nothing beyond gray and not even gray, don't go there, because it'll always be misconstrued. And I say save those comments for your spouse. I am a very big believer in, you know, only making those comments to one person, because there's no reason to say it to anybody else. So, but I mean, you know, things about looking pretty or things like that. Don't take yourself so seriously. That, you know, Lori tells me I take myself pretty seriously sometimes, and I know that, and I've got to lighten up a little bit. Have a sense of humor. Don't look down on others ever. You don't know their situation. And you know, I know a lot of people who are sitting on the top that were not on the top and far from it not that long ago. It takes a split second, the right phone call, bumping into the right person. You know what? You just constantly be a person of excellence. Do the right thing. And you know what? You will find yourself in a great position sometime soon. You were born to be great. You were born to be a leader. You were born to do great things. And each of us were born to do great things and different great things. And we don't know what those great things are. But I promise you, Mark, that no matter who you are and where we are today, that somewhere, somehow, something will happen, and you never know when it will be, that can turn everything like that. And so, you know, it's just about, you know, being out there. And by the way, speaking of which, I'm kind of jumping ahead, so I know it's there somewhere. You got to put it out there. This is one of my later ones. And I don't see where it is, but put it out there. Say thanks for what you have. Even if you feel like right now it's not what you want, or you're not where you want to be, it's important to be grateful for what you have. And, you know, this isn't necessarily a religious comment, because it doesn't matter necessarily to me what you believe in, what greater being. Just all I'm saying is, if you believe in something bigger or a higher power, then take the time to say thank you every single day, but not just when the good things happen. And don't ask just when things are bad. I believe you've got to constantly say everything from thank you for, you know, letting me wake up this morning. Thank you for allowing me to have this home. Thank you for allowing me to live in a beautiful place like Florida where I can ride my bicycle every day. And I say these things out loud, and nobody else is listening, but they're going to the universe. But on the same point, I also will say things like, it would be great if, and I'll ask for something. And you know what's really interesting? I thought back over the last 30 days. This is crazy, Mark, about how the universe really when you put things out there, how they bounce back. I can think of 3 things, and I'm not going to share them on the radio, but 3 big things in my life. And I put them out there, and I just said to Lori and to the universe, please. All 3 happened. Weird coincidence? I don't think so. All right? I'll tell you another crazy thing. It's just not, this has nothing to do with my show today, but talk about like the universe. So when I first met Lori, And I was at her sister's house. Her mother and father were visiting, and I went downstairs to get some coffee in the kitchen, and her mom was there. And this was not first met Lori. I guess it was long enough in the relationship that I said to her mother, I said, look, I love your daughter, and I am going to ask her to marry me, and she loves me, and I just want you to know that. And she takes my hands and starts dancing with me in the kitchen, singing, "You're too good to be true." Now, I'm sorry, I never sing. Sorry, Lori. But, so, wait, this is the crazy part, right? Besides the fact that Lori and her sister were now in the kitchen rolling their eyes going, oh, my God. But here's the thing. I never hear that song on the radio, ever. And at the end of the first night of the wake, as we're leaving, I leaned over to her mother, and I said, I promise you I'll take care of Lori, and I will be a great husband, and I'll be great to Taylor and to all your kids, and you don't have to worry. You just rest. And I said, I know it would be really comforting to Lori at some point if you could give us a sign. Mark, I swear to you that next day or that night, we were, I want to say a restaurant or just got a bite to eat or in the hotel lobby or somewhere. And what song comes on?
You're too good to be true.
That's it. I mean, crazy, right?
Yeah, crazy, but
you got to put it out there. You got to put it out there. All right. So you know the universe works in funny ways, but if you don't put it out there, you don't ask, you don't get. Be honest. So you want to say something? I can see it.
Well, you know, I just want to let our audience know that almost every week you say you got to put it out there. I mean, so you believe in that. I mean, it's not just something that you're saying. You believe in it.
I do believe in it. I say thank you every day to whatever greater power there might be. Something brought us all here on this earth. I'm not particularly espousing one religion or religious belief over another. I'm simply saying I believe that you know there were no accidents, that we're all here, right?
Now, do you call that putting it out there, or do you call that an affirmation?
You can call it an affirmation. You can call it the secret. You can call it putting it out there. It doesn't matter to me. All I'm saying is that you have to tell the universe what it is you want, and you have to tell the universe what it is that you're grateful for. Because you can't just say I want, right? I don't believe that. I think you have to say things like, thank you very much for this. Thank you. You know, and speaking of thank you, I think, you know, it's so important, whether it's in work or at home, we got to say thank you. I probably drive my wife crazy because I say thank you all the time. You know, whether it's for a cup of coffee in the morning or, you know, maybe making a great dinner and she'll look at me and say, stop, you don't have to thank me. And I said, no, I do have to thank you, because there's never a day or a minute or anything happens, or if I should, God forbid, something happens to me, I want you to know always that I appreciate everything you do. And I never, ever take anything for granted. That was one of the ones I was going to talk about later, which is, you know, I say things like thank you or I love you to a spouse or something nice to someone you care about when you're leaving them, because you don't know, again, God forbid, you have a car accident or something happens and your last words could be an argument or they could be thank you, I appreciate you, you've made my life great. Now, I know if it were me, and those were my last words, I'd be really happy in my last moments knowing that I left somebody knowing how much I appreciated them. I need to keep moving here. I'm a big believer. I used to stay up very, very late working, and then I would sleep a little bit later. And I've realized lately that it's more important to go to bed early and wake up early. There's something great about getting to your office or sitting at your desk or doing things for yourself. When I wake up at 6 in the morning and I take time to walk around, do a couple things, get on my bicycle, ride for 30 or 60 minutes, come back, have a cup of coffee, spend some time with Lori, talk about our day, walk on the beach with our dogs, whatever it is, and it's not even 9 o'clock. So go to sleep early, turn off the television. That's another thing. You know, study after study shows that electronics stimulate you, they keep you awake. I constantly, I'm thinking about children with their cell phones in bed, and they've got to turn them off because that's why they don't go to sleep. And by the way, folks, you might find there are some additional benefits to going to bed early and turning off the TV. We are an adult show, and I don't normally go this direction, but you know what? Find time for sex. It's healthy. It keeps you and your spouse connected, and they say it releases endorphins. We talked about tomorrow never coming, so make time to do the things that you know you should. Tell a joke. Laughter makes you live longer. Even if they're not great jokes, just tell them anyway. Here's a couple more for you. Dance. They say dance like nobody's looking, right? I say dance when nobody's looking. It's healthy. It gets your heart pumping. Guys, it is absolutely okay, despite what your wife tells you. It is okay to play air guitar, just not when anybody else is looking, all right? You don't play air guitar at all, do you?
Not at all.
I'm telling you. You get out there and put your favorite music on and start dancing around the room when no one's around with the music cranking, and 5 minutes from now, you will feel like a whole different person. It's crazy. It's like aerobic exercise, and you think you're like, Johnny Rockstar. Anyway, as I said, smile, say thank you, be honest. Don't exaggerate. Exercise. You hear me every week talking about how I'm on that bicycle every morning. Why? Because it's good for your heart. It's good for your cholesterol. It's good for your weight. And it's really good for mental clarity. Guys, get a prostate exam. Women, mammogram. But I want to go back to the prostate exam because you know what? When you turn 50, they tell you got to get a prostate exam. And, I'm not a doctor, but I can tell you this. I am told that prostate cancer is one of the most curable forms of cancer when it's caught early. The problem is no guy wants to go get a prostate exam. But I can tell you that the alternative, which is prostate cancer that is left unchecked, is far worse than enduring a few seconds of a prostate exam. How do you feel about that?
That's another day's discussion.
Okay, that's another day's discussion. All right, let me keep rolling here. Accept your faults. Recognize your pluses in each other, and especially if you're business partners or your husbands and wives. It's really important. In fact, I think that while I am a firm believer that opposites may attract, but I don't think that they stick. I think that for the most part, people with the same goals and same drive and same desires tend to grow together instead of apart. However, even when you find two people that are that connected, there are things that everyone in a couple, one person does better than the other, and one person doesn't. Don't try to change that other person. Look, I know there are things that I will never do as well as my wife. Because some of those things I'm not as interested in as she is. We have different minds. I'm very mathematical, very analytical. She's very creative. Well, that's great. There are also things, if we had a conversation right now, that I could think of several times a week when Lori will turn to somebody and go, Steve does that. And he does that because he's better at it. Well, I'm only better at it because I like doing that. Maybe it's something with numbers or bills. I don't know. All I'm saying is if you can find a partner and actually, instead of trying to change them to be like you, work with them like cogs in a wheel so that you're actually both running together simultaneously, it's really powerful. So we talked about accepting faults. If somebody else is speaking bad of someone, I think it's our duty to turn around and not participate. It goes back again. We're talking about the water cooler at work or on the ball field. And if I were talking badly about George right now, I said that about 20, 30 minutes ago, and then you'd be thinking, oh, yeah, that's a great conversation. I'm going to get on Steve's good side, so I'm going to talk bad about George. But at some point, again, you're going to recognize that, Steve could be doing the same thing about you, which I don't do. So I would recommend you disassociate yourself from that conversation, even if it means not being part of the herd, which we talked about before, right? Be the sheep or be the herder. You will earn greater respect from the people. They may say, oh, that Mark or whatever. But the truth of the matter is you will earn more respect from people when you say things like, if I said, oh, George is such and such, and you say, you know what, Steve, I don't particularly care to talk about that right now, but I will tell you one thing. I've worked with George, and he is amazing at 1, 2, 3, and rattle off a few things. And I've never met another guy or person that can do as good a job with whatever it is as George Rodriguez. Wow. Look at that. You totally stopped the other situation. You built up your friend, and you just high-fived me. I know what that means. All right. So let me keep going here. Just a couple more. Help a senior citizen. We talked earlier about your neighbor. I think we talked a little bit about visiting. But you know what? Smile. Say hello. Listen. We talked about, carry a bag. Hold the door. We live down here in Florida. And I'm constantly stopping and, I smile at the older folks, except when I'm driving behind them. But otherwise, sorry, a little cheap shot.
You know who's driving 40 on the highway? Lori
would tell you that's me. That was the running joke when we lived in Connecticut. She used to say, that's my Steve. I love him, but he's practicing for retirement Florida driving in his 40s. And I would think, okay, well, the speed limit says, 55. Anyway, enough of that. Try to find joy in everything you do. The truth of the matter is there's great things all around us. It's sort of a version of stop and smell the roses or live in the moment. I think so many times, especially because we're such an immediate, instant gratification society that we're so caught up in it's got to be now and I've got to do this and more, that we don't take time. It's like, I can't wait till I get such and such a car. And then you get it, and then you feel like, all right, now what? What do I got to do next? Or we're going to get that house, now we're going to get the next house. Or whatever it is. Take time. If you just got that new car, drive it every day like it's a new car, if that's what makes you feel good. Take time during your day to take a walk, to look around, look at the sky, look at the stars at night. I love that. I'm a very big, because I'm so analytical, Mark, I find that I have to, things confuse me. Like, I don't understand space. I mean, I understand it, but I don't understand infinite space, because I keep thinking logically there's got to be an end, but if there's an end, then what's behind the end? And so that could make me crazy, and I don't even want to go there because I'm way too analytical. Anyway, I hear the music, so I'm going to just tell you one last one, and then I'm going to wrap this up. Sing in the car. It's really fun to sing in the car, and I promise you it'll make the person driving next to you laugh like crazy. Folks, my name is Steve Gordon. I hope that you have found some of these anecdotes of help to you. And I want to just say thank you. I want to say thank you to everybody that makes my life great, all you listeners. Mark, you're awesome. You're a great friend. I truly appreciate everything you do to make this show great. George, who's not here. Everybody in the audience, thank you, thank you, thank you. Come back next Monday. We'll have a brand new show with a great topic. Please send us your notes, your questions, CEOmanship.com, GordonPartnership.com, CEOmanship on iTunes. I'm Steve Gordon. I'm CEO of the Gordon Partnership, and you're listening to CEOmanship on SoFloRadio.com.
You're listening to SoFloRadio.com.